Monday Night Baseball, live from Yankee Stadium in New York. The Yankees host the division-leading Baltimore Orioles. Afternoon thunder shower has cooled temperatures at Yankee Stadium as Baltimore and New York wind up a four-game series. The Orioles leading the American League Eastern Division by 6.5 games over Boston, with Milwaukee and the Yankees losing ground on the leaders during the past week. And hello again, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. Baltimore tonight will finish off a 10-game road trip in which they've already been eminently successful. They won 2 out of 3 in Kansas City, 3 in a row in Milwaukee. They've already won 2 out of 3 here in New York. They go home for a 16-game home stand, and they've been almost unbeatable at home, winning 39 out of 50 games so far this season. The atmosphere for this ball game, clouded, obviously. Clouded by the loss of one of the most respected players in the game of baseball, and the captain of the New York Yankees, Thurman Munson. The Yankees are under heavy emotional strain, and it's somewhat miraculous that they are able to come out and play this ball game tonight. But let's pursue the story of Thurman Munson and his tragic accident as we join Howard Cosell.
They came, the entire Yankee contingent and ball players from all over the nation, to the funeral today at Canton, Ohio, the home of number 15, Thurman Munson. The entire Yankee team served as honorary pallbearers, and one of them emotionally undone. Couldn't be controlled. Had to be helped. Billy Martin, Thurman's friend and manager. So that's the way Thurman Munson was put to rest. His life was simple. There were 2 motivations. Total dedication to family, to Diana's wife and the 3 children, and the other, to be the best ball player he could possibly be. He succeeded more in his brief 32 years of life than most of us do in the normal 75, because he was in the richest Yankee tradition. The tradition of dignity and glory of Ruth and Gehrig and DiMaggio and Henrik and Mantle and Maris and Ford and all of them who have made baseball history. And more than that, he somehow showed that simplicity and honesty were the most important qualities in life. It is quite possible that the last network interview he ever did was the one he did with me just a couple of weeks ago. And his answer to my final question shows that honesty and that decency. Looking over your statistics, Thurm, every year 100 runs batted in, averaging out to 16 homers. Last year, the nagging shoulder injury, and only 6 homers, including the monstrous one that beat Kansas City. This year, still a paucity of home runs. What troubled you?
Well, Howard, I think, there's a couple things. I think, one thing last year, I got in a lot of bad habits because my shoulder, did hurt so bad. Now I got it operated on, and it's really not as strong as it should be. We waited a long time in January, and when I went to spring training, I still couldn't throw, and I couldn't swing very well. So I think it's a combination of things. And, let's face it, I have a lot of pride in myself, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself right now. And I get up there, and I'm probably over-swinging and, trying to do things that I can't. And whenever you're tense at the plate and not relaxed, you lose something. But I can promise you that whether it's this year or next year or what, before my career is over, I'm going to get back to doing what I can do best, and that's driving in runs and putting some victories up there on the scoreboard.
You're still the fulcrum of this ball club. The best there is at what you do. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you.
He was the only Yankee ever to have been named Rookie of the Year in his league and the most valuable player. He was the best there was at what he did, and he was the pride of the Yankees. Now the opposition, one of the greatest pitchers of his time, unquestionably, Jim Palmer of Baltimore. Let's get his feelings on Thurman Munson. Jim, honestly, was your club, and were you personally touched by the death of Thurman Munson?
Well, very much so. I think anybody in baseball was touched by his death. Playing against the Yankees will never be the same without a guy like Thurman playing against you. And you know, his personality exuded, I mean, every confrontation I ever had with him. He'd come up to the plate with a twinkle in his eye, and even if I got him out, he had the confidence to know that he could get a hit the next time. And he got many hits off me in his career, and I don't think I ever resented any of them because he was such a great ball player. But you know, I played a lot of golf with him, and you don't really get to know a guy until you're out on the fairway with a guy like Dave McNally and a guy like Thurman Munson, and you find out what a nice guy he was. And came up to me in spring training this year, and it was the first exhibition game, and you know, he said, I can't wait till the season's over, and we hadn't even started playing yet. And you know, he was jesting when he said that, but it's a shame that everybody knew that he was a great ball player, but really nobody knew what a great guy he was.
We'll never forget, and they probably won't. And I'll say this, the Yankee clubhouse tonight was like a wake. Men so emotionally shaken they couldn't speak. To tell you the exact mood of that group and their manager, Billy Martin, here, of course, is Don Drysdale.
Well, Howard, thank you very much. And, of course, when you walk into the Yankee clubhouse, the locker that Thurman Munson used right now is empty. There's a uniform and a catcher's mask, but it's a locker that you can't help but miss. You'll see the locker as you walk into the Yankee clubhouse. You walk into the actually, you walk into their trainer's room. You'll see it all the time. And you'll never miss this locker. It's something that, well, they kind of feel as though that they're waiting for him to come back. Of course, we know that he never will. Lou Piniella not in the lineup tonight, and he's visibly shaken. And Billy Martin said, nope, I'm not going to put him in there. They were great friends. I never had a chance to play against Thurman Munson, but I have talked to many, many players in the 10 years of broadcasting about Thurman. He had all the respect in the world from every one of his peers, and I guess I consider that maybe a personal loss as far as I'm concerned. And I think, to sum it all up, to quote Billy Martin, he says, for the people who never knew Thurman Munson, I feel sorry for them. And for the people who didn't care for Thurman Munson, I feel sorry for them, too. And I guess that sums it up as well as you can put it. Keith?
And so that is the shadow that hangs over Yankee Stadium tonight as we prepare to wind up a four-game series between the New York Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles, with Dennis Martinez pitching against Ron Guidry. We'll begin in a moment. Defensively, let's set him up for you. Going out into left field will be Bobby Mercer, who has to be emotionally drained. He was one of those who delivered a eulogy today, but he's in left field. He's a professional athlete. In center field, one of the new youngsters in the Yankee organization who's done some traveling, but he may be here for a while now, Bobby Brown. And over in right field, number 44, Reggie Jackson. Reggie's in right. Moving to the inside, one of the craftsmen at his position, Greg Nettles at third base. At shortstop for New York, the MVP in the World Series a year ago, Bucky Dent. And over at second base, the brilliant youngster, Willie Randolph. He's at second tonight. And down at first, steady Chris Chambliss. And back of the plate, Brad Golden, G-U-L-D-E-N. Brad Golden doing the catching tonight as Ron Guidry goes to the mound with a record of 9-7. His earned run average, you can see, is still very imposing. The batting order for the Baltimore Orioles, they have Al Bumbry to lead off, followed by Kiko Garcia, the shortstop, Ken Singleton, the right fielder, cleaning up Eddie Murray, the first baseman, Doug DeCinces, the third baseman, Lee May, the designated hitter, Benny Ayala's in left field, Rich Dower at second base, Dave Skaggs will be doing the catching. And pitching for Baltimore tonight will be Dennis Martinez with a record of 14-8. So Al Bumbry, who had his hitting streak stopped yesterday, 0 for 4, 15-game streak. During the streak, however, he hit .390, and a couple of weeks ago changed his stance some, moved his hands up higher, and he was a big, big factor in the sweep against the Milwaukee Brewers. And Ron Guidry, Louisiana Lightning, or as he's known at home, old Louisiana Lightning, comes in with a fastball for a strike. Strike two. Guidry worried. Back in June, suffered back spasms. You can see his record against Baltimore. He had him against the Twins. He had difficulty breathing. To this day, they're not sure what caused those spasms. He now says he feels fine and fully recovered. With a two-strike pitch to Bumbry. Hit on the ground to Chambliss. Chris will do it himself, and there's your first out of the ball game. Obviously, the Yankees wearing the black armband. in memory of their captain, Thurman Munson. Kiko Garcia comes to the plate now, playing shortstop for Baltimore. A .254 average. They give him left center field. He swings and misses.
Now, Keith, one of the big things about Thurman Munson, as you look at the defensive alignment, I should say not Thurman Munson, that's on my mind, too, when you come into Yankee Stadium, about Ron Guidry. He started off slow, but he's been coming on. He has been pitching very well, and he's got the velocity back. And you'll hear the Yankee fans here. Whenever he gets 2 strikes, all of a sudden they'll get the hand clapping going. They'll start the foot stomping and things like that, and that means they're looking for a strikeout.
Two down, and it brings up Big Ken Singleton.
Well, that man tonight just sat in front of his locker. Munson was his leader, his catcher, the man who helped develop him. And he just sat there sobbing. And you know, Don, you were in there. And it's a real travail for him to come out here tonight. This whole Yankee team, I think, deserves applauding.
Back to Singleton, who hit home run number 27 yesterday, which is a career high for him. His previous best, 24 homers 2 years ago. Comebacker to Guidry. So the top half of the first inning. Guidry gets Baltimore in order. Baltimore tonight is 28-year-old Benny Ayala, young man from Puerto Rico. He's in that position, replacing Gary Renicky. Replaced him yesterday. Gary is still suffering with some back trouble. Over in center field, Al Bumbry. We mentioned the fact that he had been a dynamite offensive player over the last week. Go get him with the best of them in center. In right field, Big Ken Singleton, who with a sound arm has a much better arm defensively than advertised in recent years. And he is sound now. Doug DeCinces, Golden Glover, over at third base. Under normal circumstances, I think he must mumble sometimes. He has to play in the same league as Greg Nettles. At shortstop, Kiko Garcia, another youngster out of the Baltimore organization who picked up when Mark Belanger was hurt. Done a fine job for them. At second base, you have Rich Dower, and Dower was involved offensively in a couple of the victories here over the Yankees during the stand. And moving around to first base, here is Eddie Murray. Murray is hitting in the cleanup spot tonight against the left-hander Guidry. Behind the plate and doing the catching for the Baltimore Orioles, Dave Skaggs. And on the mound doing the pitching, right-hander Dennis Martinez, 24 years of age. Since August 15 last year, he's run off a record of 22-9, and during that period of time has 21 complete games and 36 starts. Now the batting order for the New York Yankees will line up this way. Willie Randolph the leadoff, followed by Bobby Mercer, Chris Chambliss, Reggie Jackson, Greg Nettles, Jim Spencer, the DH, Bobby Brown, Brad Golden, and Bucky Dent.
I think we should thank George Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees, for lifting the blackout tonight. He wanted very much to do it for reasons that don't have to be labeled.
Willie Randolph stands in at 271 on the year. Martinez will offer fastball, curve, slider, and change. Coach Ray Miller says he thinks Martinez may throw the hardest curve in the American League. The Orioles use a speed gun, and Dennis has been in the low 90s with his heat in the early innings, throwing a curve in the middle 80s. That is a quick curveball.
It is. He's got good stuff. And you could think back of a few years ago when Dennis Martinez first came to the major leagues. And you could look at this young man and look at the arm, and it was just a question of whether he would ever put it together. Now, his lifetime career mark, as you see there against New York, not that good, not that impressive. He's won 1 and lost 4. He's lost to Tommy John this year. But all of a sudden, he has come into his own. He's the type of pitcher, I'll say this. And it's funny how when you do walk into a clubhouse and they talk about the opposing pitchers, we'll be here a while. Martinez is not the quickest worker that you've ever want to see.
He is from Granada, Nicaragua, which is about 45 minutes from Managua. And the first pitch of the ball game is caught to center field by Willie Randolph. dropping for a base hit.
He is also not susceptible, Martinez, to the big hope. Last Monday night when we were in Milwaukee, he came out, George Bamberger, the Milwaukee manager, said, "You know, Dennis, we always have great success against you. You can't beat us." And Dennis looked at him and said, "George, you used to be my coach. You know better than me." And he proved it in that series, which they swept.
Now Bobby Mercer. Randolph off first. Randolph with a substantial lead. The pitch is in for a strike to Mercer. That's fouled away on the left side of the crowd, out of play. Randolph in stolen bases this year. He's stolen 20, been caught 7 times. This is Bobby Mercer's second appearance in the series against Baltimore. He came in as a pinch runner on Saturday. He had a very strong start when he came over to the Yankees from the Cubs. 9 hits in his first 7 games. But he's been struggling of late. The outer defense shifted to the right for the left-handed hitter. And he swings and misses. Ball strike 2.
Now, there was that good curveball you talked about, Keith. And he threw that ball hard. And, of course, Bobby Mercer in striking out. As you look at Dennis Martinez right now, he has been out on that mound many a times because he leads the American League pitchers in innings pitched already with 204.
So Bobby on a 2-strike pitch goes down swinging. Curve just diving as it came to him, and here is Chambliss at 280. Chris jacking his average. Started yesterday for the first time in 9 games as Billy Martin faces in the dugout. Been out with a pulled back muscle. He had 3 hits yesterday. He's now hitting 11 straight. Chris looking out to the mound to see whether or not Dennis is having a nap or there's something wrong with him, and now he's ready. Oh, that's close.
He's got a good move. And when he goes over there and he means it, you better be on your toes. Willie Randolph just getting back under the tag. He's the type of pitcher that you see so many Latin pitchers. They can throw from all angles. They're good athletes.
Willie Bluff doesn't go, and the pitch misses outside for ball 1. He has had some success throwing sidearms, but the pitching coach, Ray Miller, can point to instances where he should not have thrown sidearms. He has a tendency to leave that ball inside to a right-hander instead of putting it out over the outside of the plate. And that's the pickle.
And that's a natural thing to do. If that is not your natural movement, you will have a tendency to leave it out. And there's a good throw, and Randolph just about coming off the bag. But you'll take a right-hander, and as he comes sidearm, or sometimes they will crossfire. And exactly as Ray Miller says, if you're not used to that motion and really concentrate on making that ball be outside, you have a tendency to leave it from the middle of the plate in. You've got everything going for you as far as the hitter maybe bailing out. But then that doesn't help at all, because if you leave it from the middle of the plate in, you're in trouble.
Randolph goes. The throw, nowhere near in time. Willie steals his 21st base. Now with 1 out, Randolph at the turn, and Chambliss with a count of 1-1.
If there is one flaw in Martinez's motion, that is the length of time that it takes him to get rid of the ball from his set position. Randolph at that time, he had a jump and a half, and I tell you, Dempsey couldn't have, or Skaggs, I should say, couldn't have thrown him out with a bazooka.
In a moment, I'll explain why Skaggs catches Dennis Martinez. A little bit like the Carlton McCarver story at Philadelphia.
1-1 pitch to Chris Chandler. 1-2.
What a beauty that was. Curve tailing away. Martinez was caught in his first 3 starts by Dempsey. Had 0-2 record, 1 no decision. Every succeeding start, he was caught by Skaggs, including Dennis's 10-game winning streak.
Chandler swings, ball pops out, tag made by Skaggs. You've got 2 down.
And once again, there was that good curveball.
Terrific. With Randolph at second base, Reggie Jackson is in at 296 with 2 away.
Here is Reggie Jackson, who sat in the clubhouse just looking off into space. His relationship in the beginning with the late Thurman Munson, a stormy one. At the end, friendship. Last Friday night, stood in right field here in the stadium, cried during an 8-minute ovation of Thurman Munson.
Strike 1.
You've got a feel for the Yankees today and tonight, gentlemen, as they've had really a trying day. An early morning departure from New York, gone into Canton, back here. Players really laying around in the afternoon, not going home, sleeping wherever they could find a
No batting practice.
place to lay down. That's right. And it's kind of where you just reach back and try and find some extra energy. That is what a professional has to do.
Inside, 1-1. This game, like all games at this level, played with a fair degree of emotion. There is only so much available in a 24-hour period. Martinez with a check on Randolph. 1-1 pitch. 1-2.
There's a case where Martinez, he is just challenging Jackson.
That graphic has some meaning.
Well, it's like a lot of good pitchers, Howard. If you're going to get them, well, you better get them early, because the longer they stay in there, the tougher they get.
1-2 to Reggie. Just outside, the plate umpire is Steve Palermo.
That sounded self-serving, Don. As we take another look, you weren't that good in the first.
Well, there's the fastball tailing away. Martinez jumping back over, trying to get a better angle at it, but Palermo right there. I think probably for a power pitcher, and you'd have to describe Martinez as a power pitcher, that the early innings can be the toughest, trying to get everything in sync, and that's why that warm-up and your preparation time is so important.
Well, he's already showing, and of course it's well known by the Yankees and every other club in the American League now, but he's showing those who have not seen Dennis Martinez very many times, they will play the game at his pace.
Which is slow.
Right. Strike call. He strikes out 3 in a row after giving a single to Willie Randolph. And after 1 inning of play, there is no score. We'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station. For Baltimore, as we go to the top of the second inning, Eddie Murray, Doug DeCinces, and Lee May. Eddie Murray is tonight playing his 313th consecutive game. He's missed only 8 innings this year. Those 8 innings resulting from being thrown out twice, most recently on Saturday night.
That's not uninteresting. The Yankees aren't playing that badly since the All-Star break, but the Yankees lost 3 straight big wins to California. Ball 1. Keith, you'll remember we did a game in that series. They lost 3 straight big wins to Milwaukee. That was where we were last Monday. And then they lost 2 straight to Baltimore before winning yesterday.
1-1.
So they've lost 8 out of 9, Keith, to the big teams, which is not the way to do it.
No, sir. Baltimore on this road trip has just been phenomenal.
They have a chance to beat the Indians' winning percentage of 1954 when Cleveland won 111 games.
Guidry hits the outside corner. It's 1-2, and there are scores from about the American and National League tonight.
thin schedule today. Kansas City must keep winning. They sneak back to within 6.5 games of the lead. They know how to win. They need pitching desperate.
Ball is hit sharply foul down the third base side. Called there by the third base umpire, Nick Bremigan. Rich Garcia is out at second tonight, and Bill Haller is the umpire at first.
Interestingly, John Mayberry's 16th home run of the year, a 3-run blast, has given Toronto that 3-run edge against John's old team, Kansas City, Don.
Well, Charlie Lau mentioned in the clubhouse today, he said, boy, is anybody watching those guys from the Midwest? I said everybody's watching them, but they can't do anything about it. They're just winning. They've just won 10 out of 15. And Kansas City, once they get going, and you're now getting into their 2 hot months, you're getting into August and September, and that's when they can put it all together. And they're just 5 games back in the all-important loss column.
And their pitching staff has gone through one of the worst slumps in the history of the franchise. Big side by Guidry. 2-2 pitch. And Murray fouls it away. Hitting right-handed, he's a switch hitter. Going from the right side against Guidry.
Eddie Murray, renowned as a fastball hitter. Give him change of speed stuff. Give him the curve. You got a good chance with him. But an exceptional ball player. One of the bedrocks of this club.
High pop to the right side for Chambliss. Drifting over and foul ground. Chris makes the catch for the first time.
This club had 4 grand slammers in 1 week during the season. That's how hot Baltimore's been all year, Don.
Well, when they get playing at the rate of baseball that they're playing right now, percentage-wise, .679, and they're 39 games over 500. You look at the Red Sox today, 6.5 back. Red Sox, they've got a record of 67 and 41, so they haven't been playing that bad.
Not too bad. They're still in it, very much. And this is the man. You see his career record against Guidry, more home runs against run than any other major leaguer. And his .296 career average against a pitcher of Guidry's stature, self-evident. Somehow he gets to Guidry.
1-1 as the Hummer hit the corner.
Did you have anybody like that who hit you consistently?
I had a whole bunch of them.
Apart from Aaron?
And Robinson.
I'd hate to start naming them. I'd make somebody feel bad.
1-1. 1-2.
Well, Doug told me before the game, he said, I'm going to hit a home run tonight off Ron, but don't book it.
Gone. That's the curve on the inside corner. 2 down. I tell you, I think old Louisiana Lightning's got some heat tonight. He looks loose.
This is some kind of pitch right here. As hard as he can throw a slider. And look at this right there. That is a tough pitch, believe you me.
Lee May will now test him.
This guy hit one of the 4 grand slammers within that week.
Getting ahead of the Baltimore hitters so far tonight. Oh, he just blew that one past.
There's a kid catching Guidry tonight, Brad Golden. They got him in a trade with the Dodgers from the Dodger farm system. He knows he's in impossible shoes to fill.
You know, just that position that he was in right there, I really liked that in the catcher. He got that leg out there. He got right down low, right down where he wanted the target. And here he goes again. Look at that.
Ball is hit well to the left side. Mercer goes back. Home run. Great effort. Great effort by Bobby Mercer. Just missed it.
But that's what Baltimore's been doing all year. You've been watching Ron. He's been pitching superbly. Even though it was only 1 2/3 innings, you could see he had his stuff. But somehow this Baltimore team comes up with big hits, telling hits, and big fielding plays. And thus their incredible .679 winning percentage as you look from still another angle.
Can't see the ball going in there, but he didn't miss it by much. So Lee Mays, line drive shot into the seats in left field, gives Baltimore a 1-0 lead, and this is Benny Ayala replacing Gary Renicky in left field.
You know, you watch Mercer give that kind of effort, and I must have spent 20 minutes alone with Bobby tonight. The eyes red rimmed, still crying. He delivered one of the 2 eulogies for the Yankees, the other being Lou Piniella, who's not even playing tonight.
That's in the crowd, I think, out of play. Golden comes back, has a look, and it drops way back.
So, the Yankee players didn't make the decision to play this game. Maybe some of them might have wanted it not played. Maybe some of them would have wanted a doubleheader played yesterday. But this is the way it is. And our assignment to report the action.
The 2-1 pitch misses. 1-0 Baltimore on Lee May's 16th round tripper. And he hit a shot. A lot of ballparks, that one might well have been caught, but not here. That's loose to left. That'll drop. Base hit. And so all of a sudden, May homers. Ayala singles to left with 2 outs.
And up comes Rich Dower. And Keith mentioned earlier that this young man has already been effective at the plate in this series. And he's been very effective, much more so than they had expected throughout the season. Those statistics not prepossessing, but nonetheless, he's gotten some telling blows, included in there the 7 home runs.
Pitch is low. Discuss the pitcher-catcher situation with this youngster now stepping into a big role in the Yankees. John?
Well, the biggest thing right now, Billy Martin, I talked to Billy before the game about Brad, and he's very high on him. He says, I like the way he handles himself behind the plate. I like his arm. He said, I don't know what he's going to do hitting-wise, but he says, right now I'm looking at the other way. We can't ask him to do everything all at one time. There you look at Billy Martin, Art Fowler to your left, Yogi Berra on the other side of Billy, Charlie Lau. But he says he's going to go back there, and he's going to show me what he can do. He says right now, he says defensively, I like what I've seen.
The 2-1 pitch. Foul back here.
I think in that quick glimpse of Billy Martin in the dugout, as you looked at his eyes, you could see what he's been going through. I don't know of a player who's ever played for Billy Martin who meant more to him than Thurman did.
With 2 outs, the pitch is fouled at the plate on a 2-2 pitch.
I think just to go along a little bit further, as you look at Earl Weaver in the Baltimore dugout, well, you got to give him all the credit in the world, but the young man we're talking about behind home plate, the Yankee catcher Brad Golden, he's going to get with Art Fowler. He's going to get with Jim Hegan. He's going to sit with Jeff Torborg, the former Cleveland manager, and now a Yankee coach, and get the idea of how to handle these particular pitchers. He's fortunate tonight that he's got a man, although he does throw hard, he's got good control. He's got good command. He doesn't have to worry about bouncing all over the place and handling a pitcher that's wild. He can call his game, and if Guidry doesn't like his sign, you'll see him shake him off every now and then.
Big swing and a miss. And Dower strikes out. But Baltimore gets a run on Lee May's home run to lead 1-0 after 1.5. Bobby Brown nettles a 2-run homer yesterday for the Yankees' 3-2 win over Mike Flanagan. It was his 14th of the year. It was his first in 30 games. And he's had trouble holding the bat firmly because he banged up an index finger with a lawnmower accident the day after the All-Star game.
Lawnmower accidents have been prolific in the history of sports. Wasn't there one?
High drive to right center field. Bumbry's there. 1 out.
Wasn't there once a southpaw pitcher wound up without a foot because of a lawnmower?
Lou Brissy.
Of course, with the Phils.
You know, and when you talk about mowing the lawn, The accidents like that, I think, didn't Kurt Simmons have something?
He sure
an
did.
accident?
A toe.
All right. But it's toe.
By the way, I saw Ted Simmons in Chicago Saturday. And he is in great shape now, finally. He said, you realize I'd be leading the majors in home runs if I weren't out 4 weeks?
Jim Spencer, who's hit 13 round trippers this year. The DH for the Yankees hits it to right center field. Bumbry's there. And you've got 2 outs.
When you talk about Dennis Martinez and his psychological movement as far as warming up and things like that, we talked about warming up a little bit before, just touched on it, but he works as most starters will. He'll warm up 15 minutes and under the watchful eye of his pitching coach, Ray Miller. And then about the last 5 minutes or so, he goes strictly to locations. And I believe that that is really the proper way to warm up. That's just my opinion. Evidently, Ray thinks that way, too.
Did you warm up that way?
Yes, sir. You start off by loosening up with your fastball. You go to your curveball, your slider, your change, and then after that, you start going around, just moving the location all around.
Self Martinez. What happened with you?
I never had Ray Miller standing by me.
That's got to be a concentration factor.
Oh, it is. It's just repetition. That's what you're getting into right there, and just trying to drill that back into your memory bank.
2 balls and no strikes now to Bobby Brown.
This kid can fly. Now, look. He failed with the Mets. He failed with Toronto. He went around and around. Sent back by the Yankees. Recalled. Sent back. Recalled. But this kid can fly, and he is an authentic prospect. The Yankees have been doing a lot of promoting of their farm system over the airwaves in the recent weeks as they faded out of the pennant race, and it probably didn't help their farm system reputation to bring up from another team, Lenny Randall, in the recent days. But this kid looms as an authentic prospect, and all the inside scouting reports say it. Base hit. That's what I mean.
And look at that speed.
He can fly. Take another look. And remember, too, that this kid has decent occasional power.
He had a good pitch, too.
Yes, sir. Low.
Great effort by Garcia. Now, Bunbury, he got on it in a hurry, got it barehanded, and Brown just did not stop. He actually did not even make a real good turn going around first base. He took a big jump at the bag and then made his turn, but the speed enabled him to get there easily.
Here's Brad Golden now.
Now, this kid, I don't think hitting is going to be a problem. This is another authentic prospect. Look at this, another angle.
See, he kind of hesitated. He kind of stumbled, actually, going around the bag.
Made it easily.
Golden with his first major league hit on Saturday off Steve Stone. Broken back. Slow roller to Garcia. And the sides retired. But Mr. Brown gave us a show. Oh, they couldn't move him around. And after 2, it's Baltimore 1. New York followed by Al Bunbury and Kiko Garcia here at the top of the 3rd inning. That Billy Martin might have been complaining about the pace of the Baltimore pitcher, Dennis Martinez.
Quite possibly part of Martin's managerial tactics. Seek to throw the opposition off stride whatever way you can.
I'll guarantee you, though, if an umpire walks out and says something about it, there'll come a little fella out of the Baltimore dugout. Dave Skaggs at the plate, takes strike 1.
Well, the second base umpire, tonight it's Rich Garcia. He's the one with the stopwatch. The crew chief here is a veteran, Bill Haller, at first base.
Broken bat. Big bat goes right over Greg Nettles and on into left field.
It's that kind of year for the Birds.
Well, you look at it again, and I'll tell you, you just don't see too many bad hops, I don't believe, on this Yankee infield. It's one of the finer infields in all of baseball. And right there is something that is a rarity.
They're not as close as the foreshortening of the lens would indicate there. Dent was
That's
some
rather
distance
good.
back of it.
The foreshortening of the lens.
I have that trouble with my photography. Bunbury at the plate. It's fouled away.
Boy, there's a tough pitch to bunt right there. And Guidry had it in a super spot. High and inside.
Up around his eyes. What?
Bunbury, well, Keith's talked about him. You can't overestimate his value to this ball club. He is now what Mickey Rivers used to be for the Yankees before the injuries and all the rest led to his trade to Texas.
Goes for that bunt and misses, and he's got 2 strikes on it. Weaver trying to move Skaggs along to second with Garcia and Singleton to follow.
Eller, we're realizing that you're really not going to get a whole lot of runs off of Ron Guidry if he's pitching well. And he's pitching well tonight regardless of the 1-0 Baltimore score.
That pitch blocked outside by Golden.
Good block by Golden, and exactly the point Don made. That kid is down there low. He's ready.
And there's some good hands. Watch these soft hands outside. This ball diving away from Bunbury, the breaking pitch down and in. He gets out there in front of it, and look at that. Just like an infielder.
What'd you say? You'd have Guidry pitching the slider outside very soon?
He starts going outside of those right-handers, you're going to see a different ball game.
To the pitcher, to second base, to first base, not in time. Bunbury can fly. They got a force on Skaggs. 1 out.
And when I talk about seeing a different ball game, you can see it all switch into Guidry's favor. And Ron is a good athlete. Now watch this play right here. High in the air. And now he just tries to double clutch a little bit, trying to find the handle. He doesn't give it to Dent real hard. And, of course, Bunbury with his speed, he's across the back. But look at the hustle by Golden right in behind Chambliss.
What's he across the back?
Across the back. He's halfway down the right field line.
Kiko Garcia, who struck out swinging his first time tonight. Obviously, Bunbury is the threat to go at first base. Kiko, I'll tell you a little secret about him. He wears a lightweight corset for support of a lower back problem. Pinched nerve in his lower back causes him some trouble. Lord, I know that feeling, too.
Yes, I know. You've still got that, huh? There's Lee May, who hit the home run, the only run in the ball game thus far.
That's fouled upstairs out of play.
He's talking about Guidry and coming with that slider. He starts getting the good command of that slider where he gets it in to the right-hand hitters right down at the knees and then starts moving it away where he brings it from the outside in. And boy, he can be not double tough, he's triple tough.
Bunbury has stolen 25, been caught 11 times this year. 1 out, 1 on.
Good move, and as you said, Keith, you've always got to keep an eye on Al Bunbury, and he's not that far off, but he's going to go, and all of a sudden there's a hand in the cookie jar, and he is caught. Chambliss running him hard, making him look at the good hand fakes, and now all of a sudden, without turning the ball loose, makes the tag himself.
Now the bases are clean with 2 out for Garcia. He has 1 strike on him. Oh.
It's amazing. Belanger out 5 weeks. Garcia came in, played so well. Now Weaver in a 1-run ball game from the 7th inning on gets Garcia out to put Belanger, an extraordinary fielding shortstop, still in there. Weaver, a manager who brilliantly knows how to use a total roster.
As we've said before, anytime you're going to win, it's going to end up being all 25 that are going to participate before you ring down the final curtain.
That's a strike. And the side's retired. So Guidry turns that slider on the inside corner and gets this man. And the score continues 1-0 Baltimore. Sir, to face Dennis Martinez. There's Frank Robinson, who handles the outer defenses. You see him motioning through the Baltimore outfield. Moving him around.
He's got to be, as we noted last week, the most active coach in all of baseball.
Bucky Dent's first trip to the plate in the ball game tonight, and curveball is in for a strike. We told you Dennis Martinez is from Nicaragua. He talked to his mother for the first time in 2.5 months last Thursday. His family is all right. For that, he's thankful. Strike two.
Well, you talk about Frank Robinson and moving the outfielders around in the defense. Boy, there's nothing greater for a pitcher if you're standing out there and pitching your game the way you want to pitch it. Have the hitters hit it where you think they're going to hit it and have somebody standing there.
Oh, here's the first pitch. Dent strikes out looking. Lou Piniella not in the lineup tonight. He's in the dugout. He was shaken considerably by the experience today in Canton, Ohio. Burial of Thurman Munson. Willie Randolph, who singled and stole a base to lead the ball game. Got as far as second, and there he stopped. 1-0 Baltimore.
Willie Randolph getting up there. Chris Chambliss getting up there. But for the Yankees, it's difficult to envision a miracle now. 15 games behind. Incidentally, we've gotten some calls saying Lou Grissy was wounded in the war. Pete, Don, and I had discussed it, and yes, the calls we've gotten are correct. Lou Grissy was wounded in the war. He was not one of those involved with the lawnmower. Ted Simmons was. Our abject apology. Did I say Ted Kurtzen? Kurt.
Ralph Salvon, the trainer out there, extracting something from the eye. No particular wind tonight. Stir up the duck to get a cinder in his eye, but obviously there's something bothering him.
Either that or it's a good show he realized he was going to get caught for taking too much time.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. A guy that can throw a fastball in the 90s, I want him to have good vision.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't want anything wrong with him. Matter of fact, you take a little more time if you're the hitter and say, are you sure he's okay?
Yes, sir.
Good-looking curve. Strike one.
Pitching beautifully. He's up against the player who is the best Yankee athlete. Run, field, hit, Willie Randolph.
1 out, 2 strikes on Willie with Mercer on deck. Lee May's 16th home run, the difference in the contest right now. He hit at the top of the second inning. 1-0 Baltimore. Outside.
There's that sidearm fastball. And he concentrated that time on keeping it outside. But he has got, as I talked before, being such a good athlete himself, he can throw that breaking pitch from out there, too. So you can't just lay on one pitch if he drops down from the side.
Foul back.
Players of the week. Len Barker of that astonishing comeback Cleveland team. They came from 10 games below 500 up to a game over 500. The Texas Rangers have found them tough. And Pete Rose of Philadelphia, who despite his individual exploits, watched his team lose 5 straight to the Bucks.
That pitch is inside. The count is 2-2. Rose did, however, break Honus Wagner's National League record for career singles. Just another mark in the book for Pete at 24-27 as he went 14 for 41.
Correct.
Willie looking for a new toe hole as Dennis Martinez continues his deliberate pace. And the curveball is beat foul. Mike Ferraro coaching at third base and Yogi Berra at first base for New York. Big Mike. And Yogi.
Yogi.
But is that Yogi went looking for Mickey the day after he left? Third baseman DeSensei. Good play. 2 out. Look in from left field as DeSensei moves to his left.
He gets a good jump, and the ball comes up for him, and that helps him quite a bit right there. And, of course, after that, everything is in motion towards first base, and he gets him with ease.
Bobby Mercer, who struck out swinging the first time up. Martinez has fanned 4 Yankees. 2 swinging, 2 looking.
Bobby is just a better hitter as you look at a call ball. There's one of the great statesmen of baseball, one of the greatest pitchers of his time, Catfish Hunter, himself very much down like all of the Yankees.
High to the left side and foul on the crowd. Drifting well back and into the lower deck.
Bobby Mercer broke up during his eulogy today, began to cry uncontrollably. As a professional ball player, much better hitter than the average presently shows, and he may break out of it at any time.
2-1 the count for Mercer. Ball is hit deep to right. Singleton back, has room, makes the catch. Mercer took him to the warning track. And once again, Martinez gets New York. And we've got inning. We go at Yankee Stadium. And we'll have Mr. Ken Singleton walking to the plate to be followed by Eddie Murray and Doug DeSensei. He had removal of a bone chip, Singleton did, and transplantation of that ulnar nerve in his right elbow. And during his workout periods a year ago, when his arm was relatively weak, he would squeeze for pressure. He'd get it up to 35 pounds. This year, no trouble in making 90 pounds. That's how much stronger he is after the operation. Checks on it. Golden yells for an appeal, and Bill Haller at first says no.
Well, the young man's on his toes, I'll say that. He come right out of there barking and pointing.
Yeah, he really did holler, didn't he?
Singleton turned around looking back and said, "Hey, what's the matter with you? Be quiet a while."
On the corner, 1-1.
You know, and I look at Ed Golden and watch him sit back there like that. It always reminds me of 2 catchers who I really appreciated watching catch. That was Del Rice and Del Crandall.
1-2 the count on Singleton.
Especially Rice, who would be down there and have that leg out. I'm sure there were a lot of other ones like that, but those come to my mind right now as the fans get clapping for a strikeout.
Got it. That's 5 for Guidry.
In 3 1/3 innings, it's like the old Guidry, who, as Don said, has been coming on strongly in the recent weeks.
I don't believe that anyone can count the Yankees out of it. Now, they're 15 games behind coming into tonight's game. They're 15 down in the loss column. But, boy, I'll tell you, if they ever get hot, and should Baltimore just falter a little bit, they can be right there.
It's possible. They've got other clubs to climb over.
Well, they've been playing good baseball.
But on August 12th, 1951, the Dodgers were 13.5 games ahead of the Giants. So it's possible. And the Giants won the pennant on October 3rd, 1951. Jim Palmer. What a great pitcher. What a great gentleman.
When's he coming back?
And he told us, what's that, Pete?
When's he coming back?
Well, he told us that he comes off the disabled list tomorrow, and he's pitching batting practice all week and hopes to start Sunday. So that's a new obstacle for opponents of Baltimore.
Well, that's true. But I just am a firm believer until you're mathematically out. Of course, you can get to a point to where you can be almost mathematically out, and you know you can't do it. But there's still a lot of baseball to be played.
2-1 pitch to Eddie Murray. Bangs off the glove and comes skipping back. If Baltimore wins tonight, then they go on home to 16 games at home. Their next 3 games, they have Milwaukee, followed by 3 with the Yankees. And then in September, they play the Red Sox 7 times.
Red Sox are far from out, 6.5 off the pace, and the Birds know it.
At the high pop to the right side, drifting back toward the crowd, and it's in the crowd.
Well, that's what I was talking about before. It's awful hard. And I think the Baltimore Orioles will even admit that, to be playing at a 679 pace. Boy, that's hard to keep that pace up throughout the course of a year.
Reggie Jackson has been saying all year long that they're not a 667 team. But it's got to be proved on the field, and so far, Baltimore has been controverting the theorem.
Now, they've been tough. You can't take that away from them, and they've been doing everything right. And when you get good pitching to go with the good defensive ball club that they have, they can be tough.
Guidry now with 6 strikeouts.
This is as good as I've seen Guidry this year, Don.
Well, it's the start of the year, Howard, and I can go back to a game, and you talked about doing the Yankee-Angel game a few weeks back on that Friday night special, and watching the game that he pitched against the Angels, had him beat by a run with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and Bobby Grich hit a 2-run homer to beat him.
To the opposite field.
That's right, and he was not throwing as well then as when the Angels came back into town here, and he shut him out on 3 hits. And he's throwing better tonight than he did then.
DeCinces with a ground ball to Nettles. And the Orioles are gone. So Guidry gets them in order in the top of the 4th inning. 5th inning for Chris Chambliss, Reggie Jackson, Greg Nettles against Dennis Martinez. He's sitting on a 1-0 lead. And he's high and outside to Chambliss. Chris struck out swinging first time to the plate. Martinez, 1977, his first full year at Baltimore. Like most of the young Baltimore pitchers under Earl Weaver, he finished before he got into the rotation. That's high and away, too. Second baseman Dower gets a tricky hop. Doesn't get a whole lot on the throw, but he's able to get it there ahead of Chambliss for the first out. Here's a case of quick hands here. Now, that ball took a quick little skid on him.
And Dower getting over in good position, and then he almost overran the ball. It kind of kicked back a little bit to his left, but he stayed right there to make the play off his left thigh.
And Reggie Jackson steps in, having struck out looking. Reggie has been playing right field on pretty much a regular basis when he has been healthy. Only a few games as the DH.
Well, of course, there's Roy White, who through the years has been a steady-going Yankee. We've talked about him at length, and you saw the ovation he got a few weeks back when we did a game here against the Red Sox.
Reggie fouls it back for strike 1.
But Keith said, when healthy, talking about Jackson. It's been a nightmare season when you review it for the Yankees. One injury after another. That's owner George Steinbrenner. Now in our booth, I'll be talking with him at the end of this half inning. I want to say something before I talk to that man. There are many Yankee wives in Canton, Ohio tonight with Diane Munson, Thurman's widow, and they're probably watching this game. In fact, I know they are. And they're there because George Steinbrenner rented a number of private jets to see that they could stay over with Diane, and they'll be coming back probably tomorrow. And also, when George got word of Thurman's death, and I think this should be made public, because he's taken his share of beating in the press, as we all do, immediately sent all of his advisors, legal, out to Canton, Ohio, to oversee the affairs of Mrs. Munson with Thurman gone. I just want you to know that.
The 2-1 pitch to Reggie is high. 3-1. So here in this inning, the bottom of the fourth, we see Martinez getting up. 1 out.
And Martinez is the type of pitcher that really can't get up all that often, Keith. He's basically a low ball pitcher.
He walks Reggie. And that's the first walk of the game for Martinez. He will now pitch to Greg Nettles. For the year, Martinez has allowed just 2.3 walks per 9 innings. As a matter of fact, he's walked just 6 in his last 5 outings.
And that graphic shows part of the Yankee problem. The good start of Thurman Munson and then the decline beginning in June. Some feel that maybe yesterday's home run is the augury of a return to form.
With Jackson on first, Martinez now looks in to Greg Nettles.
Did I say Munson incorrectly? I'm sorry. Of course I meant Greg. Thurman on my mind as he is on so many.
Ball gets away from Skaggs. He throws on Jackson, and he gets him. So hustled by Skaggs. And Garcia banged up a little bit as Jackson went hammering in.
Now, there was a case right here that all was really not all Reggie's fault. He couldn't pick up exactly where the ball was. The ball stayed right there to Skaggs. Now it's up in the air. Reggie trying to pick it up, blocked out. He's blocked out by Nettles in a way. Skaggs gets on it in a hurry, gets a perfect hop, and then when Reggie tries to make his break, then they get him easily.
And you've got 2 out.
There you see, he can't see the ball. Now he's starting to go back, and now he sees it pop out to where it gets away and outside of Nettles. But Skaggs gets the good hop, a good strong throw, and they get him with ease.
But you can't run fast when you're looking at the ball. You know what I mean?
And you don't get a good break when you're going back to first. I understand that, too. I just think he was blocked out by Nettles.
Greg now at 3-0 has a good look down to Mike Ferrara, the third base coach. I'm sure if it's in there, he may very well jump on it. He fouled it away.
That's one thing about Billy Martin here at Yankee Stadium, and you get some of these power-hitting left-hand hitters. Billy sees no reason in his managing, especially got the short porch in right field. Why give the pitcher a pitch? Why give him a strike? And the hitters are, as you look at the graphics there, as you look at the hitters on the Yankee ball club, they're disciplined enough. They've been around long enough to where they should say, I'll take a pitch in my zone. If I'm green-lighted, then I'll take a swing. If it's not in the zone, then you take it.
3-1 to Greg. Outside, ball 4. Oh, that's the second walk in the inning.
No.
That's play on Reggie at second now.
Looms bigger, doesn't it, Keith? Much bigger.
Well, you got to run one ball game, and when you look at the last 3 games that these two clubs have played, they've all been decided by 1 run.
This fellow has done a very decent job for the Yankees. Very respectable. A former Golden Glover himself at first base. He's been a fine designated hitter. The 13 home runs and the reasonable batting average reflective of the fact.
Pitch is high and outside.
The case right now where Martinez, he's not only getting up a little bit with his fastball, you saw the curveball there, getting out ahead of himself just a little bit, then all he had left with his arm, and then just trying to spin it up there.
Say one thing, he's got Earl Weaver walking around. Right at Dower. Takes it in the tummy and throws him out. And the side is retired. And so we roll along through 4 innings of play here at Yankee Stadium with the Baltimore Orioles leading the New York Yankees on a score of 1-0. Lee May's 16th home run of the season.
Looking at a sign that says it'll never be the same without you, Thurman. We love number 15. Here is the owner of the New York Yankees, George Steinbrenner. George, direct question. I was in your clubhouse. It was like a wake. Some of the players emotionally drained, virtually all of them. Did you ever consider canceling either last Friday night's game or tonight's game?
Well, Howard, I think we're all emotionally drained in the Yankee family, and yes, we did. But Bobby Mercer spent the evening at the Munson house Thursday night, and he came in and came to see me Friday morning when we were talking about it with the Orioles in the league, and he said, Diane asked for one thing, that Thurman never quit when he was hurt, and she wants us to play, even though everybody on that ball club was hurting and has been for 4 days. She just didn't want them to quit. They're Yankees, and that we don't quit, and they don't quit, and so the determination was made that because of Diane's request to the team that we play, and you'll have to admit we've played them right to the wire every game.
Then the Yankees have not given up for this season. The trading of Rivers was not a give-up sign.
Not at all. The Yankees never give up, Howard. We proved that last year, and we've had more adversity than any team I've ever seen this year. But the fellas got up this morning at 5:30. They've been up all day. They're drained emotionally. They're tired, but they were where they should be. They were where they wanted to be, with Thurman right to the grave and right to the end. And that's the way they are, and that's the way Yankees are.
You're done in yourself, aren't you?
Pretty much.
I want to say this to you publicly because you deserve it. A, I know you wanted Diane and the public to see the Yankees tonight. So again, and I mentioned this previously on the telecast, thank you for lifting the blackout. And you're a battler.
Well,
and good luck to you.
We'll battle back. Don't worry about us, Howard. Anybody thinks they're going to walk over us this season, got another guess. Remember I said that. They're Yankees.
Thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
We'll go back to the action.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Keith?
For the Baltimore Orioles, Lee May, who has ripped the home run to give the Birds the lead, Benny Ayala, and Rich Dower. Those are the three scheduled hitters. And Ron Guidry on the mound with 6 strikeouts in the ball game. Has given Baltimore 3 hits so far. Ball 1 to Lee May. We have an idiot on the field, and I would think of all time, this is the most dangerous time for someone like that to come out. The ball players are trying to ignore him. Lee May has stepped away from the plate. We shall ignore him as well.
I just really wouldn't want to be that fella right now, the way that they just say, the attitude, I think, around New York.
It's sad.
We'll just take a moment of quiet here as the ball players are watching the chase. And the crowd hooting at it. And let's talk about something meaningful while this is going on. Let's talk about Edward Bennett Williams' purchase of the Baltimore franchise for the sum, we're told, of some $40 million, with a commitment to keep the ball club in Baltimore as long as it draws well.
What do you want to know about it?
Not a thing.
Well, there's a behind-the-scenes war between Edward Bennett Williams and Football Commissioner Pete Rozelle. There is a rule in the NFL that says you can't, if you own a team in the NFL, own a team in another sport. The North American Soccer League has currently brought the National Football League to court, a suit in litigation, seeking to establish that that NFL rule defies the antitrust laws. They've finally gotten the malingerer, imbecile that he is, off the field. And, of course, within the National Football League, Lamar Hunt owns the Dallas Tornado. Joe Robbie's wife, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, technically owns the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Al Davis of Oakland may harbor dreams of dual ownership. And you have opened a legal can of worms, my good friend, because that will be a battle to the finish.
It's better than watching that foolishness that was going on out in the field. And our producer, Dennis Lewin, and our director, Chet Forty, choosing not to show it. It didn't deserve to be shown. Now let's see what impact, if any, it has on Ron Guidry, who has had a long wait. May, Ayala, and Dower. The pitch is low. hits another shot into the corner, and it's ricocheting fair ball. May going to second. Mercer throws. Not in time.
So the nemesis tonight thus far has not been Doug DeCinces, Ron Guidry's past nemesis, but instead Lee May. Look at this from a center field angle.
He hits the ball hard again, and both pitches that he's hit has been from the middle of the plate in. And this ball, of course, sinking, not having a chance to go out. Bobby Mercer gets a fine kick off the wall, but N has to wait for it to come down. And that, and the high throw to second base, and that enabled May to get there. But it was mainly the high kick off of the wall.
Now here's young Benny Ayala, who had a base hit his first time up in the second. He's came over from St. Louis for Mike Dimmel, recall from Rochester. Rolls it on the ground to the right side to Randolph. Willie makes the play with Lee May going over to third.
Well, he did his job. He moved up the runner.
Exactly. That's Earl Weaver's thought. That's what every good baseball manager likes to have his players do. Now, Ayala is giving himself up and just moving the ball to the right side. And now we'll see how Billy Martin wants to play it as far as his infield's concerned. He's got one out and May at third.
We'll bring him up. Rich Dower at the plate. Dower struck out swinging against Guidry back in the second inning. He hits the ball to the right side, and it's foul. But not by all that much. Just dropped over the railing in the crowd.
That's the interesting thing about this Baltimore team. There's Earl Weaver, and he's the man responsible as he talks to Frank Robinson. They have a way of doing the right things, the things that don't show in the statistics.
Ball is hit to the right side. Reggie Jackson has a little trouble picking it up. Stumbles, May tags. Reggie throws, got an arm. He's safe. May came in storming hard, and it was close.
Well, Lee May, who has been out after the All-Star break with a calf pull, it's better now, or he couldn't even have attempted to come. That ball wasn't hit that far. Jackson slipped a little bit on that wet turf, made a good play. Now look at the effort by Golden, the catcher, trying to reach out, keep that foot in there to make the tag and block him off the plate. There's one more look at it. May coming in a good slide by May. You've got to say that.
I'll tell you one thing, Brad Golden could look back on this moment and be happy that Lee May came in at that particular angle, because he is a big horse.
Oh, he is.
He'd run over, you'd know it for a couple of days, I'll tell you.
I was surprised they didn't seek an appeal.
I'd like to see that again, see if he even hit the plate.
On the ground, said he left the base too soon.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, you should have looked.
I did.
Dave Skaggs is up there with 2 balls and no strikes. And Guidry now goes to 3-0 as Baltimore builds its lead to 2-0. I wasn't sure he hit the plate either.
I don't know if that left foot might have kicked right on over.
They scratch, they claw, they scramble. This Baltimore team. There's our good friend Lee May. They have a way. They have a way of eking out runs, and with their pitching, they hold it together. They have now gone to 61 games, 60 of leading and going into 9th inning, 60 of which they have won.
Skaggs pops it up back of the plate. It'll come back out of play, and the count will hold at 3 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Him up. Golden coming back has a chance at this one and makes the play. And so Baltimore gets one more to lead 2-0 after 4, and that looks like it.
I don't know.
Bobby Brown, Brad Golden, Bucky Dent. And Brown, with the base hit his first time up tonight, just kept right on flying to second base.
I'll tell you this much, that Golden has the look of a good young catcher. Aggressive.
He is aggressive. That's what Billy Martin said prior to the game.
Ball is hit high in the air to center field. And Bunbury makes the catch.
This much we can tell you, Bobby Brown's the low ball hitter.
I was just going to say that. The first pitch that he got his base hit on was about a foot and a half off the ground, and I don't know if this was that high.
He is really a low ball hitter. They keep throwing him that way. He could hit 330 in the big leagues.
He drove that ball pretty well to center field.
Here's Brad Golden, who rolled out to the shortstop his first time. He came over from the Dodger organization February 15 for Gary Thomason. Ball one from Martinez. Really not much of a place to go right now with the Dodger organization if you're a catcher. Going to have trouble getting to the big club unless you can hit a ton.
I was going to say that that's just a good break that happens to certain people in baseball. You've got Yeager, Ferguson, and Johnny Oates, 3 catchers over there.
And talent at Albuquerque.
That's right.
Martinez falls behind 3-0. And when he gets in behind like this, he just takes a little more time.
I tell you what he's doing, though, Keith, and I think he's well aware, and Earl Weaver is aware of what Billy Martin was talking to Bill Haller about. And instead of having an umpire talk to his young right-hander, Earl might have done that himself in the dugout.
He's now 3-2 on Golden.
You just don't try and interrupt anything, but just see if you can maybe try and speed yourself up a little bit. Don't get out there and all of a sudden have somebody call time and say that's a ball.
The 3-2 pitch to Golden. Into center field for a base hit.
I like the cut of that young ball player. I like him everywhere. Aggressive behind the plate. Good arm.
He did get one right down the pipe that time.
He may have, but I think he's got a good swing.
Well, he hit from the right side if he's going to play in Yankee Stadium, you know that. And that's from the left side, really.
Now with one out, Golden at first base. Here's Bucky Dent, who struck out looking his first time. To the right side for Dower, the second baseman. 2 down. We go back to Willie Randolph, the top of the order. 1 for 2 in the game.
What was it Earl Weaver told us a week ago? I said the start of spring training, I had the best pitching staff in baseball, and they thought it was more malarkey from Earl Weaver. Now they're beginning to believe it.
Well, he's got a good staff. There's no question about that. And he's deep.
Just off the corner. Wait till I get Big Stoddard back, that ex-basketball player who can blow you away. 6'7" right-hander. Reliever. That ball is hit to center field for Bunbury. Al retreating on it. Flags it down for the third out. So we've gone through 5 innings of play at Yankee Stadium. Baltimore 2-0. Back with more baseball after this word from our local. For more Orioles leading by a score of 2-0. Ron Guidry on the mound as the grounds crew have manicured the infield. We're ready to go, and to call it for you, here's Don Drysdale.
All right, Keith, and it will be the top of the order. Al Bunbury, Kiko Garcia, and Ken Singleton in that order. Guidry finishing up his warm-up tosses. Ron's allowed 2 runs on only 4 hits. The Yankees no runs on 2 hits through 5. Bunbury tonight 0 for 2. He's bounced to Chambliss and was on a fielder's choice. Bunbury having a good year. You've heard us talk about him, but kind of in that same mold as Mickey Rivers was in the championship years here at New York. Having a good year, hitting .283, 4 home runs, 38 RBIs. And it was last Monday night. You saw his home run in Milwaukee to win it. That's going to be a base hit, and they don't get out in a hurry. It's going to be more. It will be, as Bunbury doesn't even slow down, as Brown gets it back in, and Bunbury's at second base with a double.
You see Bunbury get over there to cut it off? Had that gotten through, it could have been an inside the park. I mean, Brown get over there to cut it off.
He got over in a hurry, and we've seen him before, and he cuts a lot of balls off because he has got some excellent speed, and he has a long way to go for this as you look at it again.
He flies.
They had given him left center field, and the ball kicked a little bit back toward him. Another thing that deterred a quick throw was the fact that we did have rain here this afternoon, and the outfield is a bit soggy.
Here's Kiko Garcia. He has struck out twice. Guidry has struck out 6. Weaver going to play for one more run. And here's a case of a manager possibly knowing a player, knowing the pitcher that he's facing. He had Ayala, who maybe has a little more bat control. You see Bunbury at second base. But he's not maybe going to even have Garcia swing. We'll wait and see. The first pitch he was bunting.
Scratch, claw, scramble.
Bunt again, and Guidry a good play, and a good fielder. They get him with ease. Now we talked about the athlete that Guidry was. He got off that mound in a hurry, and as soon as he got the ball, he knew exactly what he was going to do with it. Bunbury back in the Baltimore dugout, but now instead of a runner at third and 1 out, look at it again.
Ball kicked up high. Ball has stayed on the ground. If he'd been able to put it down on the ground, it might have been a little closer.
Now there's one gone. Kenny Singleton will step in. You see he's 0 for 2. Has bounced back to Guidry. He's struck out. 1 ball, no strikes to count.
Let me tell you, under the circumstances prevailing here tonight, this is a good, solid ball.
Keep Garcia close.
He will run. He's stolen 9. However, he's been caught 8 times.
Singleton, a local fellow. Grew up in Mount Vernon. Started with the Mets. Traded to Montreal. There, he met a man whom he credits with a lot of his success, Larry Dover, who gave him hitting instruction, hitting confidence. Just got an inside wisecrack from Ted Forty in the truck that is utterly irrelevant to the telecast.
Missing a wave, and the count 2-0.
Mention the name of Johnny Grubb.
2 balls and no strikes to Kenny Singleton. Well to the right side. Jackson a ways to go to the warning track to the wall. This ball is gone.
So Kenny Singleton, who has power, all parts of the outfield, does it again.
Well, Singleton having himself quite a year, and it shows you the power that Singleton possesses. He hits his 28th home run of the year, has RBIs 84 and 85.
Reggie Jackson went as high as he could. He was about a yard short.
I'm going to put together a team of Mets who got away.
Well, you know, Singleton, and we mentioned that point earlier, he had all that trouble with his arm, got the nerve transplanted, and he's so strong now in that right arm. He just powerhouse of an end.
This is Eddie Murray, who's 0 for 2, has fouled out to Chambliss and struck out. And that's the story, 4-0 Baltimore, as they give Dennis Martinez a little more breathing room.
See, Freddie Lynn hit his 28th yesterday, didn't he? So that ties Singleton with Lynn.
1 ball, 1 strike. There's 1 out, nobody on. 4-0 Baltimore. We're in the top half of the 6th inning.
Cincinnati, by the way, leading Atlanta 2-1 in the 5th. Every game a big game for Cincinnati, trailing Houston by 5.
Billy Martin. Pretty good change that time by Guidry. The count 3-1. Now Singleton, his figures show what kind of year he's having. Starting tonight at 302, has now hit his 28th home run of the year. Now has 85 RBIs. 3-2 the count. He leads the club in runs scored now with 71. You see Kenny in the dugout. Walks with 77. Off the glove of Chambliss, and Randolph's got to run it down in a hurry. Now Murray, he will be given a base hit. And here's DeCinces. Doug tonight 0 for 2. Caught looking his first time at bat, and he bounced to third in the 4th inning. They will keep Murray close at first base. Right-hander Ken Clay. He's in the Yankee bullpen. Murray, you saw just with a little slight feint towards second base. And Ron Davis gets up to join Clay. That was just enough to have Guidry throw over there. Well, there's at the new look Yankee Stadium. DeCinces right there with Jim Rice, Ogilvie, Yastrzemski, 2 right-handers, 2 left-handers. Hit hard but foul. Down the third base side. That was just foul. Just barely. That's symbolic in sports. The Yankees, of course, with their black armband. Look at Tommy John, catfish hunter. There's the newly acquired Yankee, Lenny Randall, sitting next to Tommy John. The bullpen, Clay and Davis on the far side. Another good save by the young catcher, Golden. The count of ball and 2 strikes to Doug DeCinces. It's 4-0 Baltimore in the Baltimore 6th inning. Guidry really kind of worried a little bit about Murray over there.
We're talking about Kansas City, how they love August and September. They just scored 6 runs in the 7th. They now lead Toronto 9-5. They've been trailing in the early going 3-0.
I said they've won 10 of their last 15. There goes Murray, and the hit and run, line drive, and look at the good decoy put on to Murray. Good play by Jackson, and they will double him up. And boy, there was a major league decoy put on by Bucky Dent. Murray didn't know if he was in Baltimore or New York, and the side retired. But the Baltimore Orioles pick up 2 runs in the 6th inning, and after 5 1/2, they lead the Yankees 4-0. Murray was going. Bill Haller, the first base umpire, down the line to make sure Jackson caught the ball. Dent put on a great fake at second base. And here's Murray. Now, he doesn't know what's going to go on. He looks around, and now he can't see exactly what's going on. He didn't tag the bag coming back anyway. And the throw to Chambliss to double him up. And Steve Palermo, the home plate umpire, very alertly down there to make the call. And in between innings, Palermo and something administered to him by the Yankee trainer. Whether he might have pulled something or just what. Anyway, Bobby Mercer leads off the Yankees' 6th inning. 0-1 the count. Bobby 0 for 2 tonight. Has struck out, fly to right. And we get word that Palermo had a muscle spasm in his back. But he's all right now. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Line drive to Garcia. Well, what did Lou Burdette used to call that pitch? You got to throw some atom balls up there every now and then. Well, they hit it at him.
He didn't throw many of those. He threw a lot of the kind you would throw so many of.
Now. Here's Chris Chambliss. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Chambliss, an 11-game hitting streak on the line for him. One ball, 1 strike. You look at the scores, what Howard was talking about before, that Kansas City 9-5 score over Toronto. Cincinnati 3-1 over Atlanta. No score, Dodgers Giants. Good change by Martinez. Check that. It was the Giants 4-0.
Dodgers been beating the Giants like a drum this weekend.
Like a drum, eh?
Yep. 8-1.
Yeah, a lot of people might wonder, how in the world would you ever find a person like Dennis Martinez from Granada, Nicaragua?
On the national team.
That's right. Well, that's where he was in 1973. And Baltimore had originally signed a pitcher by the name of Tony Chavez, who is now at Rochester. And, of course, evidently, why, he must have been somebody that Martinez looked up to, and he told the scouts that he also wanted to sign with Baltimore, and he did a week later at the ripe old age of 18. 2-2 to Chambliss. 1973.
10 years ago yesterday, you pitched your last game in the big league.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't. If I'd have been smart, it might have been a little sooner.
That's right. Cut you out while your record still held.
There is a yellow to left fielder, and he makes the catch. That is out number 2.
This was the game like a week ago.
They just keep coming at you. Jackson, 0 for 1 tonight, is walked once. Jackson making good play on that double play ball in the last inning. The ball that Doug DeCinces hit. But they're the kind that just keep coming at you. And with their pitching staff, it's really hard to put them away. You'll beat them, but you'll know you've been in a contest all the way. One ball and no strikes to Jackson, starting tonight at 296. Good curveball. 1-1.
Dropped low. Reggie, a good low ball hitter, too.
Well, there's where you go, power to power. Fans out in the right field section. Given a few of them souvenirs in the last few years. Good change, and you saw how far Reggie was out in front of that.
That was Martinez's 74th pitch of the game. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. 4-0 Baltimore.
Three balls and a strike to Jackson. Well, you can see his hands behind his back, Howard.
Compounded muscle spasm like that just takes your breath away. He was really puffing there for a few minutes when they're administering it.
Well, the full count now to Jackson at 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on. In the Yankees 6th, Baltimore on top, 4-zip.
Kansas City still at bat in the 7th. They've scored 9 runs. So far, they're ahead 12-5.
Home plate umpire, Steve Palermo. Just missing away with a sinking fastball. So Jackson draws his second walk of the game, and that is walk number 3 issued by Martinez. And we go to Greg Nettles. So the Yankees really just one swing away of getting themselves back in the ball game, and certainly a man who can get you in the ball game with one swing of the bat. Nettles tonight is 0 for 1. He's flying to center, and he's drawn the other walk. Yankees with only 3 hits off of Dennis Martinez. No balls and a strike. You know, I think if you saw that pitch right there, and if you've got any kind of velocity here, of course, we've talked about Death Valley out there in left center and center field. If you're a right-handed pitcher, at times you can afford to go high and away with velocity. If those left-hand hitters aren't looking for it out there, just get them to hit it out in left center. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, there you see why Baltimore is where they are. One of the big reasons, a good staff ERA of 3.30. Yankees not all that bad at 3.70.
No, really. Surprised me.
Base hit left center field. Jackson to second. He'll turn and go on to third as Bunbury gets it back in. And the Yankees put runners at the corners with 2 outs, and the hitter will be Jim Spencer. So hit number 4 for New York. Martinez got it changed high over the plate. Spencer has lined his center, and he's bounced to second. Again pacing down in that Baltimore dugout.
Phone's ringing in the pen.
And jackets come off. Well, he knows that Yankee ball club there. You look at Weaver down in the dugout. He'll just lean and he'll just kick that foot against the wall. 1-0 to Jim. There's Stewart and Tippy Martinez, the left-hander. Stewart, the right-hander. I think Spencer would like to have that pitch back. That's Tippy Martinez. Curveball. And right-hander Sammy Stewart. Think he's fast. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's Jackson at third. And at first base, Greg Nettles. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Spencer. Did get a piece of it. Well, that's about the only time the Yankee fans tonight have had a chance to kind of scoot up on the edge of their seats a little bit and said, hey, we got something going here. But they've got 2 outs, 2 on, and Baltimore on top, 4-0. Look around Yankee Stadium. Bunbury, see Bunbury way over in right center field. They play Spencer to pull, and deep in right is Kenny Singleton. 2 strikes. Good curveball, got him. And the Yankees are gone in the 6th inning and through 6. It remains Baltimore 4 and the New York Yankees. 7th inning of play. It'll be Lee May, Benny Ayala, and Rich Dower. Just reading in the papers today, Lee's brother Carlos May had a home run and playing over in Japan right now to win a ball game. Funny, Lee got a message from his brother wanting to send him a can of pine tar. Evidently, pine tar not available in Japan. $40 a pound.
Against the pine tar in Japan, the Royals are still batting, and they've scored 11 runs so far.
Oh,
In the 7th inning, they're ahead 14-5.
I think they've smelled the sniff of the pie somewhere. May, easy ground ball to Randolph. And that's one away. You could see that time. Guidry says, well, you've proven to me that you're looking for something inside, Mr. May. Now just hit this little fastball outside. He's hit 2 ropes, a home run and a double tonight, scored 2 runs.
How about Japanese play? I watched the Japanese game last night on cable television. I saw Sadaharu O hit into a game-ending double play. How many homers does he have? I don't know.
Here's Benny Ayala. He is single, and he did his job moving the ball to the right side, and that will go down as a base hit in manager Earl Weaver's book because he moved May to 3rd. That ball hit well left center field, and Mercer a long way to go. He can't get it. It'll go to the wall. Ayala on his way for 2. He'll make it easily. This is, I think I mentioned this last week. But here's a guy like Ayala who's been around a while. As we're going to get a runner for Ayala. Look at this pitch one more time. He just hit a rope. That's it. Nailed it.
Lowenstein goes out to run for it.
But here's 2 guys. Ayala, Lowenstein, Terry Crowley.
Crowley has been amazing.
Well, they're guys that are older. They've been around a while. And Weaver says, I don't have to worry about him coming up and say, hey, why am I not playing? Why don't I not play? Why don't you trade me? Either play me or trade me. They know what their function is on this Baltimore ball club, and they just make it so much easier.
Use the right word, function. They are functional ball players. They have a way of producing when it matters.
Here's Rich Dower. Look out. That might have crossed Gould enough. Now moving to 3rd is Johnny Lowenstein, Earl Weaver, and Frank Robinson. Look at this pitch again. He set up outside, didn't he? Not much. Well, I see what it did. He just short hopped him. That's a tough pitch to handle. A wild pitch charge to Ron Guidry, and now the Yankee infield has to come in again. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cal Ripken making the play. In the Baltimore bullpen now, Tippy Martinez is sit down. John Flynn, a young right-hander they brought up to replace the roster spot of Jim Palmer when he went on the disabled list, and Sammy Stewart are throwing. One and 2 the count. There's Flynn to the right of your screen. Sammy Stewart ready to deliver now. And that is Lowenstein to 3rd base. Runner 3rd. Two balls, 2 strikes. There's the Yankee bullpen.
Ron Davis.
And that is Ron Davis. Boy, he's had some kind of a year for the New York Yankees. Contact play, they come to the plate, and that's all. They will go no further. Now the easy one hopper hits the Nettles, and they cut down Lowenstein at the plate, and all that is strictly a contact play. You go at contact. The block now put on by Goulden. You see Lowenstein, his eyes, he didn't even hesitate whatsoever as you look at it from another angle.
What do you think of him handling that play one-handed?
I'm not sure about that. That's the first thing that crossed through my mind. I just wonder. It's up to the manager what he thinks about it. A little risky. This is Dave Skaggs, the catcher. He's 1 for 2. When you come like that, it's awful easy, especially when you've got the ball that early. And the base runner sees that, he just might bump the glove or something and knock it off. Knock the ball out of your hand. It's a lot easier. You get that bare hand in there to hold on and then just swing with him. Fly ball shallow right center field. Jackson's there. Got the room. And that's out number 3. Baltimore is gone in the 7th inning. And through 6 1/2, it remains 4-0. Lowenstein, as he was a runner for Ayala. He stays in the game to play left field. And Bobby Brown leads it off for the Yankees. A line drive. And it's right there to Dower.
They keep throwing him that low stuff. He's only 1 for 3, but he could have easily been 3 for 3. He eats it up, Don.
He's hit that low pitch good. Here's Brad Golden, who has bounced a short and single. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Now Dennis Martinez trying to pick up his 15th victory of the year to tie Tommy John for the most wins in the American League in that department.
Getting closer.
He's allowed the Yankees only 4 hits tonight. There's to the alley, left center. Lowenstein, a long way to go, and runs it down.
They make the plays, don't they?
Well, they do make the plays. That ball was hit well. The advantage that Lowenstein got, it came off the bat of a left-hander. And the ball was actually slicing back to him. Look at that left knee. That's on the ground.
He made up his mind. He was looking deuce, and he got it. He was going to hit it if he had to do it on the bounce.
So Weaver put his better and Swift, the left fielder, in there, and that proved out for him.
There's Bucky Dent with 2 gone. One ball and no strike. Two and all. Three balls and no strike. Well, you know, Howard, you talked about the functional ball players, or the players that I named a little while ago. Terry Crowley, Ayala, Lowenstein. Outside of Bumbry, to show you the year of Lowenstein this year, Bumbry with 25 stolen bases. Lowenstein is second with 15 as Dent draws the walk. Now the 2-out walk to Bucky Dent. We go to the top of the order, and Willie Randolph. He is 1 for 3 tonight. He singled his first time at bat, then he bounced to third and fly to center.
He found that a little low for his case. Willie, I mean.
Right now, that is the 93rd pitch thrown by Dennis Martinez. I'd have to think that's pretty well on par for him. 2 outs in the 7th inning.
You see, too, that Steve Palermo, the home plate umpire, is still hurting. Hanging his head and stretching back there.
Not alone.
No, he's not.
Down the line. Could be for extra bases. It will be. Moving to third is Dent. To second base is Randolph. And they will hold in at third.
Two men got on base last inning with 2 outs. Spencer Fan. Look at it again. curveball. Second inning in a row, 2 men on base, 2 out.
Well, it's just the case. The Yankees have actually, the last couple of innings, now they've been a base hit from being right back in this ball game. Bobby Mercer will be the hitter. Bobby tonight is 0 for 3, struck out, fly to right, and line to short.
Second time up, he hit one to deep right, but hit under. Fell by a fraction of an inch to put it out.
That gets Tippy Martinez back up in the pen, too, along with Thomas Stewart.
Well, the Yankees, the last 2 innings, their rally going, but they've had 2 outs. He got Spencer to strike out to end the 6th inning, and now he's got Mercer with runners at second and third. 1-0.
Well, that says a lot, doesn't it? 0 for 15 with 2 outs and runners on base.
There's a good pitch, and you know if you're standing out there facing Bobby Mercer right now, he's looking for some kind of a pitch from the middle of the plate in that he can try and jerk out of here. That's Den at third. Randolph at second. Or at least that he can drive somewhere. He did drive it down the line. It's fair. It is gone. I said he was due to break out of it earlier in the game. He got his pitch from the middle inside. And so we have a ball game.
This is the man who broke down this morning in the middle of his eulogy at Thurman Munson's funeral services. A close friend of Thurman Munson from his earlier days as a Yankee. You could just see that he was ready to erupt.
Now there's Weaver going to the mound. You look at it again. And he got it all.
And as George Steinbrenner said earlier, when he came on live with us, there's no quitting that team. The bat let out.
And Earl Weaver is not going to quit on his young right-hander. He's going to stay with him. And Chris Chambliss will be the hitter if you look at Bobby Mercer in the Yankee dugout. It is now 4-3 Baltimore. High with a breaking pitch. And you know Chambliss is looking for the same thing.
I would say if Chris gets aboard, Jackson will not see Dennis Martinez.
No, he won't. He'll see somebody by the name, I would believe, of Tippy Martinez, who is throwing out in the Baltimore bullpen. There's Tippy Martinez. He's ready. He's been up. He'll just watch the action and throw a pitch.
Tippy, one of 2 fine Baltimore pitchers, a prior Yankee. The other, Scott McGregor. Went in the Holtzman deal. Remember, Dunn?
I sure do. Kenny Holtzman now with the Chicago Cubs. Back home.
Shot of Mercer and Pinella. Munson's 2 closest friends, the 2 men who delivered eulogies this morning. Mercer breaking up, unable to go on.
High with a breaking pitch, and the count goes full at 3-2.
Mercer describing to Pinella how he timed Martinez.
Line looker. It's going to drop for a base hit. Chambliss a big turn, and he'll hold right there.
Reggie Jackson coming up. Let's see what Mr. Weaver does.
dugout. Now, here he comes.
This will be it.
Now, Earl Weaver going to the mound, and that will be all for Denny Martinez. He has pointed to his left arm. And they will go to the young left-hander. It'll be Tippy Martinez. And right now, the pitching change in the Yankees 7th. It's Baltimore 4. Now, the Yankees 3. And Reggie Jackson will be the hitter. Jackson is 0 for 1. That was against Dennis Martinez. He struck out, and he walked twice. And now you go left-hander to left-hander. The tying run aboard. Chris Chambliss at first. Oh, there's it. Now Chambliss representing the tying run at first base. A good curveball shown by Martinez. Quite a difference in the velocity of his curveball and his fastball.
From his namesake.
2 balls and a strike. Billy Martin.
I'll tell you one of the things that's amazing to me, though, is how often Reggie Jackson is put in the cooker. How many times it has crucible.
That is Chambliss at first. He carries the tying run. Ball 3. Three balls to strike as the Yankee fans come to life here at Yankee Stadium.
How quickly it became a ball game, didn't it?
The 3-run home run by Bobby Mercer has put him right back in it. 4-3 Baltimore, and we're in the last half of the 7th inning. 3-2. I believe Jackson went after ball 4. Right-hander Sammy Stewart throwing by himself in the Baltimore bullpen. And with a 3-2 count, Chambliss will be going. He goes. DeCinces gets it, and no draw.
You could see the ball play Doug rather than Doug play the ball. You could just see it.
That's exactly what happened. The ball hit off the end of the bat. DeCinces laid back, then he started the charge, and he played himself to an in-between hop. Look at it again. Now the Yankees with a tying run at second base in Chambliss. The go-ahead run at first base, and Greg Nettles will be the hitter.
That's the 7th error this year by DeCinces. Only 7th.
Boy, that's an amazing stat right there, too. But Martinez didn't want to get the curveball where he got it. A high breaking pitch inside. Well, I don't know.
Graphic says plus, perhaps, but you saw the graphic on Bobby Mercer. 0 for 15 with 2 outs and runners on.
And you just wonder when the odd.
That's right. He was due to explode. Nettles started hitting yesterday with a home run.
1 ball, 1 strike. At Chambliss at second base, he's the tying run. Jackson at first, the go-ahead run. 3 runs in for the Yankees here in the 7th inning. Baltimore leading 4-3. Good pitch. 1-2 the count. There's Lou Piniella out on deck, and he'll hit for Jim Spencer in the designated hitter spot. If he gets a chance. If he gets a chance. This inning. Ooh. Flirting with danger up there. That high breaking pitch. Count remains at 1-2. 2 outs, 2 on, 3 runs in. The story. 4-3 Baltimore. Got on the curveball. Now the Yankees are retired in the 7th inning, but they come up with 3 runs on Bobby Mercer's 3-run homer. And it's now Baltimore 4, Yankees 3 through 7. Yankee Stadium here in New York. Baltimore leading 4-0 till Bobby Mercer's 3-run homer in the 7th inning. It's now 4-3. Now Don Drysdale with Alex Purcell and Keith Jackson as we go to the 8th. And once again, here's Keith.
All right, Don, we'll look at Al Bunbury, the top of the order, then Kiko Garcia and Ken Singleton as they come up here in the top of the 8th inning at a 4-3 ball game. Well, I've got to say this, big man, you brought some excitement for the home folks.
Trying to help the team out.
This thing has become almost ridiculous. Kansas City scored twice more in the 8th. They now lead Toronto 16-5.
Yeah, but they'll be tired running around the bases tomorrow night. Bunbury stands in. And here's Ron Guidry hanging in there, hums him high and tight for ball 1. Our director, Chet Forty, will have a birthday tomorrow, and it's amazing how the years pass. He's closing in on 50.
No.
Inside again.
He got out of Columbia in 58, and he's now 32.
And that isn't even being finished with the front side.
Got the inside corner. 2-1.
That's only through 7 holes.
Lost 6 pounds, though. He did a little bounce back in his step. 2-2.
If he loses another 6, he'll bring back the 2-hand set.
Al had a
With Johnny Grubb.
little grin on his face over that one. It's 2-2, and Guidry still has heat. Fouls it away to hold it at 2-2. Time called.
Guidry a little bit charged up right now. He wants to get it and throw it, and Bunbury says, wait a minute, let me get ready. Oh,
He paralyzed him with that pitch.
Bunbury, after some talk with Steve Palermo, goes to the dugout, and here is Kiko Garcia. Struck out swinging twice against Guidry, been aboard on the fielder's choice, and was on base when Singleton hit the home run. Punches to the right side. Chambliss boxes it around a little, goes to Guidry. Ron wins the foot race, 2 down.
that was a good play by Chambliss. That ball was hit hard. He couldn't back up, go forward, do nothing but hold his ground, and he just stayed right with it.
Reds won a big one. Trail the Astros now by 4.5. Giants, who had been beaten like a drum by the Dodgers over the weekend, leading 4-0 over the Dodgers in the 7th.
Sure you haven't been hanging around Milton Berle?
I've been hanging around Keith Jackson.
2 down. Back call to Singleton on the outside corner. You're right. Guidry has come out with flame in this top of the 8th inning. Singleton and Lynn are tied for the home run leadership in the American League. Gorman Thomas and Jimmy Rice and Don Baylor all right there.
That Gorman Thomas really sneaks in there between strikeouts, doesn't it?
He does. He gets to hit them in bunches, too.
So Guidry is very impressive in the top of the 8th inning. After 7.5, 4-3 Baltimore.
Shortstop. A typical Baltimore one-run game. They're 1 run ahead and hanging on. And in goes Belanger in place of Garcia, the better fielder. We love you, sweet Lou. And there is Lou Piniella, the man who was so emotionally drained over the death of his closest friend, Thurman Munson. that after delivering a eulogy this morning at Thurman's funeral services, he elected not to star, and Billy Martin understood. But now, clutch situation, leading off the bottom of the 8th. Piniella comes up to hit for Spencer.
Lenny Randall is out on the on-deck circle. Right-handed hitter. He may come in for Brown. Piniella. Now, at the plate, there's Lenny Randall, who has been much traveled over the last couple of years.
Was that a foreshortened lens?
Piniella swings and fouls it back. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike on Luke. Tippy Martinez relieving Dennis Martinez in the 7th. Dennis 6 2/3, 3 earned runs, 7 hits, struck out 5, walked 4. Both bullpens are busy. Next week, you'll see either Pittsburgh at Philadelphia or Montreal at Houston. Right here on ABC's Monday Night Baseball.
Either way, it's a long trip from Seattle.
Belanger loops the throw over in time to get Piniella.
Isn't it amazing? Weaver puts in Lowenstein in place of Ayala. Lowenstein makes a great play. He puts in Belanger in place of Garcia. Belanger makes a fine play.
Is it Steen or Stein?
Stein.
You never know. From
Look
town
at
to
her.
town. Here's Randall.
Recognizes he's a genius. He will graciously accede to it.
Reason I know I asked you.
Stanhouse in the Baltimore bullpen as Tippy Martinez finds the strike zone against Lenny Randall. Ray Burris and Jim Cott are now up in the Yankee bullpen. 4-3 Baltimore top as the Yankees battle in the bottom of the 8th inning. Here's Don Stanhouse. You've got 1 out as Piniella grounded out to the shortstop. Randall checks on it, and the pitch is just low. It is 1-2. Released by the Mets in '79, signed with San Francisco as a free agent, went to Phoenix, then traded with Madlock and Roberts to Pittsburgh for Ed Whitson, Holland, and Brining, assigned to Portland, and then purchased for the Yankees August 3rd this season. We saw Tippy Martinez last Monday night for 1 pitch to retire the side in Milwaukee. It is now 2-2 for Randall. Hit to left center field. Lowenstein coming. Oh, what a fine play.
Functional players. Weaver looks smarter and smarter, doesn't he, Don?
Well, Billy Martin's going to go out and protest this, and let's look at it one more time. That ball sinking in a hurry, and Lowenstein
Can't see it there.
can't see it from that angle. Martin talking to Rich Garcia, who was on the move out towards the play.
Showing him what he caught it by.
And we take another peek at it. And there it is.
Oh, he caught it.
He got it.
He sure did.
One more time. There's those big gloves and the big whip.
Roy White hits for Golden here in the bottom of the 8th inning with 2 away.
What a difference those gloves make.
Oh, boy.
That's why Duke Snyder insists that Billy Cox was better than Nevels, Robinson, or anybody else at third because Billy played with the little glove. Remember in Baltimore, Duke argued with us?
That's exactly right.
Pitch is high.
Well, that's just been progress. The gloves have gotten much bigger. I tell you, sometimes when you're out there on the mound, though, you're happy they've got a little bit bigger, something to knock them down with.
That's foul back to the plate. Roy White now with a 1-1 count. New ball goes to the mound. Tippy Martinez doesn't spend a whole lot of time rubbing on it, does he? He just puts it in his glove, gets his sign, and comes right at you. And that's cued foul, ricocheting out into right field. One of the interesting things when you study the New York Ball Club, what's happened over the last year, on the roster tonight, there are 9 players who were not on the team opening day. This is a World Championship Ball Club, remember. And there are 6 others who can become free agents at the end of the season. There's a strike call as Martinez came in with a fastball. And so, after 8, it's 4th.
All right, the changes for the Yankees defensively as you look at the line score. Lenny Randall goes into center field. Jerry Narron comes back of the plate for New York to handle the catching since Brad Golden was taken out of the lineup. And that's not a position that Lenny has played a whole lot of. There's Jerry Narron, big fellow, back to the plate. Where's Benitez? Is he banged up? Disabled list. Okay. So he's not available. So here's Guidry. As you see, the statistic that Howard quoted some time back, where the Orioles have taken a lead into the 9th inning 63 times and won 62 times.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Now it's Eddie Murray, Doug DeCinces, and Lee May for the Orioles. Puts it down. A good bunt. And it rolls fair. And hits the board.
Now, that was the only play they could make right there.
They pull out all stops, don't they, Don?
Well, they're just a good, sound, fundamental ball club. There's a case where Nettles was playing back. Of course, Murray, good power. I just want to get on, see what can happen here. Maybe we can get another run.
DeCinces hitless in the ball game. Well, let's see if he can mount a charge here against Guidry. They'll try to keep Murray close. Murray has not done much running this year for Baltimore, but the last time he was on first base, remember that Guidry played catch with Chambliss quite a bit. Whatever that means. DeCinces will swing away, and he takes the strike. Davis and Gossage are now in the Yankee bullpen, and you can see Doug either is not very handy with the bunt situation, or else.
You might see Earl Weaver starting Murray right here if he's not going to bunt with DeCinces.
Lee May's on deck. He's homered and doubled for Baltimore tonight. A 4-3 ball game in the top of the 9th inning. Up goes up the handle that time. It's 1-1 as the pitch was outside. What was that stat? When's the last time he had a sacrifice bunt? 76? It's incredible.
That's amazing.
Since they had 1-1, Murray looking for all the real estate they'll give him over there at first base, and they keep chasing him back.
And when you look at Nettles at third, I don't think, Greg, he's looking for a bunt because he's back at third.
Way back. Toward the hole, Nettles doesn't get it. Great play by Dent. Goes to second, gets the fourth. How do you do?
Boy, there was a great play by Bucky Dent. If Nettles comes up with that ball, it's a double play. And they were guessing right. He was not going to bunt as DeCinces hits it out on the end of the bat. Now, Nettles gets over. He actually gets to the ball, but then it looks like it just skipped by him. Look at the play by Dent. And a good play by Randolph at second base.
I'll tell you, they were fortunate. He deflected the ball to Bucky.
He got it just enough of it, I guess, to slow it down a little bit.
Here's Lee May now with DeCinces at first on the fielder's choice. Outside, ball one.
Well, we've mentioned before that May has hurt Guidry twice tonight inside. And the last time he was at bat, he moved the ball to the outside part. He hit a ground ball to the second baseman, Randolph.
Outside again, ball two.
It's like banging your thumb with a hammer. After a while, when it starts hurting a little bit, well, you say, well, may as well try and miss every now and then.
There's one. 2-1.
Game.
I hear that one again. It's like banging your thumb with a hammer.
You never used a hammer. You wouldn't know.
Two and one to May. Fouled at the plate. Make it 2-2. The on-deck man for Baltimore.
Our second straight one-run ball game. And I repeat, under the circumstances, a talking ball game. The subtle skills of this amazing Baltimore team always in evidence, brilliantly managed. The guts of a Yankee ball club torn apart by tragedy.
He got him. On his 115th pitch of the night, Ron Guidry strikes out Lee May. 2 down.
Nine for Guidry. Seemed to find new life with that Mercer home run in the bottom of the 7th with 2 on.
Well, they're definitely in it. You got to say that for them. And, of course, as you look at the Yankees coming up, there's Guidry. Well, he's had some August put together back-to-back, especially last year. Well, this last year and this year. Last year, he was just unbelievable. But he had a good ERA this year.
Lowenstein up. DeCinces at first. Lowenstein's solo home run Friday night gave Baltimore a 1-0 win over Louis Tiant. Pulled the trigger and missed.
Tell you, Keith, you don't fool around with this guy either, because about the time you take a deep breath and say, well, here's Lowenstein, you turn around and say, well, why did I throw that one?
DeCinces goes the throw. They got him. So Narum shoots down DeCinces at second base. One more chance for the Yankees as Baltimore leads 4-3. Here at Yankee Stadium, across the city, Governor Kerry asking the state, remember this man, Thurman Munson. In case you somehow have missed the information, Thurman killed in the crash of his jet airplane last Thursday afternoon while practicing touch-and-go landings in the at the Akron-Canton Airport. All right. Bucky Dent is up for the Yankees in the bottom of the 9th inning with Willie Randolph on deck and then Bobby Mercer. Baltimore leads by a score of 4-3. There's a strike. There's 2 strikes now as Tepe Martinez is on in relief of Dennis Martinez. Dennis is still your pitcher of record, as is Ron Guidry. Pitch is hot.
I'll just say this, hopefully without being maudlin, Keith, to Mrs. Diane Munson, who I know is watching tonight. It scant solace, but it is scant solace. But if athletes ought to be treated as heroes in this country, your husband deserves it. If integrity and decency and honor matter, Thurman Munson represented all of it.
He represented another part of the game, part of professional sports and part of sports that I like. He was a gamer.
Yes, he was.
He's never had him down. The ball is punched foul to the right side. We're talking about the changing look of the Yankees that seems almost certain for 1980. We mentioned the fact there are 9 players who are on the roster now who were not on the team's roster opening day. But there are 6 others who can become free agents, including the man at the plate, Bucky Dent. He checks on it, skags the field. Bill Howell at first says no. The count is 3-2. Dent. Negotiations are close. Don Hood, nothing said. Greg Nettles, they're talking. Jim Spencer, not been discussed. Fred Stanley, some interest. Roy White, open to go to any team. 3-2 to Bucky Dent. Baltimore sitting on a 1-run lead, 4-3. Pitch is high.
You could just see Billy Martin in the dugout saying, ball 4, ball 4, ball 4. And that's exactly what he got.
Tying runs aboard, and the top of the order is scheduled. Randolph, Mercer, Chambliss, Charlie Lau, and Martin. Lau, the hitting coach. Weaver on his way to the mound. This may be one of the best kind of a ball games the Yankees could have had under the circumstances, though, because worn emotionally, filled with sorrow, they come now and they're in a corking good baseball game.
And Weaver always comes out in these situations like he's angry. Have you noticed?
Now, what he's doing right now is the same thing he did to Stone. The biggest thing, well, last week that we had the game in Baltimore, and you're walking the tying run aboard. And all of a sudden, you've got the winning run standing at home plate. Every man that comes up there, if you don't get a double play, you've got the potential winning run taking a whack at you. You're playing at home, and
you play for the tie.
You would play for the tie if you're Billy Martin.
The old maxim. Bottom of the 9th inning. 4-3 ball game. This Sensei is inside the bag at third, anticipating bunt. Here comes Murray down the first base line. It's bunted toward the first base side. A good one. Martinez goes it away down the right field line. The right fielder Singleton has to come in, and the runners move up. With Dent going to third, and Randolph to second.
This is exactly why you play for the tie at home.
Well, Earl Weaver had everything going in his favor, even if all they do is get the sacrifice, because all you've got, as you look at it again, Martinez, you can see him kind of start to hesitate because the second baseman was not there. And as soon as he hesitated, he let off of the throw and he threw it wide. But what you're doing here, where Weaver had the advantage, you've got Mercer, Chambliss, Jackson, and Nettles, all left-handed hitters, coming up to face Martinez, a left-handed pitcher. You're still in that situation.
It's a sacrifice and an error on the pitcher. It was Mercer that put the Yankees back of the ball game with his home run in the 7th inning. Let's see if they try to take the bat out of his hand now and put him aboard. At the moment, don't indicate it.
They will pitch to him.
Breaking pitch is in for a strike. 3 left-handers in a row that Don just mentioned.
What they're going to do, Keith, they'll give up the run for the out. They don't want to do anything. They're not worried about cutting the tying run off.
Nope. Worried about the man out of second.
That's exactly right. That's the all-important run. Randolph is the winning run.
That's foul. And Martinez has the edge of 2 strikes.
Little bit of tension. What? A worn and drained ball club. Going against a statistic that's incredible. 62 out of 63 Baltimore victories when they went into the 9th inning leading. Now, on the brink of being tied, maybe beaten.
The 2-strike pitch coming to Mercer. Ball is hit down the left side. It's a fair ball going to the corner. Randolph turns at third. He comes to score. The Yankees win 5-4.
And so the New York Yankees, still the world champions, in an absolutely thrilling
get them out there on a day when they buried their team captain and leader, who tragically died at the age of 32 last Thursday afternoon at the Canton-Akron Regional Airport. And the hero, Bobby Mercer, one of 2 eulogies for the Yankees today in Canton. The man who broke up, who couldn't go on. Munson, his leader, his friend. The man who meant so much to Bobby Mercer in the formulation of his own career. And it's almost symbolic without, as I said earlier, being maudlin. They won this game for their team captain. There's another look at it. And what a finish to a ball game that became more than an ordinary ball game, Keith, and you know it. Emotion won this game.
Bobby Mercer knocked in all